So how do you guys feel about living in this post-apocalypse clown-infested world?
My brother was telling me about the clown shenanigans because he says there's someone in like County Cork doing it as well. I'm sure.
No, once it gets to Ireland,
Yeah.
it's bad.
So I guess it's like a copycat sensation where it's just kind of very evil cosplaying.
Yeah.
Because like it is costume play, it's not fun.
I thought it was like the idea that people were getting like worked up over this. I thought it was like the dumbest thing in the world. Like I thought that's so stupid. Like I can't believe anyone is like getting scared of it. There was a man killed 2 days ago in was it Cincinnati, somewhere, some town in America, and like I didn't believe it, so I looked up the report and I was like, what the fuck? Stabbed to death in the middle of the street by a man in a clown mask.
But that's it. That's why people are freaked out. Is the escalation happened really quickly. I heard clowns, and then I heard woman chased by a clown with a machete. Like in the same day. There wasn't just a moment where it's like there's bands of clowns being spooky scary. It was all like murder clowns straight away.
Yeah, I think it's like obviously I'd say the vast majority of like sightings or whatever is people just being like, this will be a good laugh.
Yeah, it's like people from 4chan wearing the Guy Fawkes masks. It's just they're trying to be cool.
Yeah, but then now I think you have some actual psychopaths being like, finally a release.
It's like a really good cover for those kind of people, don't
Yeah.
you think? It's
Yeah.
like a little bit of mass hysteria happening, and it's just like, oh, I can actually cover up some really bad stuff with this.
Yeah, because then it just gets blamed on the scary clowns.
Mm-hmm.
And they're not being reported as individuals. It's just part of the clown culture.
Yeah,
I guess I'm going to say that we're all down with the clown.
we are all down with the clown.
The
and-
Insane Clown Posse actually like disavowed this non-licensed clown activity.
Well, it's not. It's not about family. It
Yeah.
falls outside the realms of family.
I'd love if there was like a Cirque du Soleil clown, like and he moves so elegantly, but he dances a dance and then fucking shits in the best.
There is a sad, sensitive clown doing that
Yeah,
dance,
sad clown.
weeping for the clowns that are betrayed.
It's like singing opera into
It's
someone's
craft.
face.
I know sometimes like I'll be criticized for maybe having like politics on this podcast that could be a bit heavy-handed, we'll say. But to me, the only solution is zero fucking tolerance.
Yeah.
Like,
Shove
and like
them all into a cannon and just launch them into the air.
Build a wall, did you get it? Huh? Huh? Vote for me.
Like, I think the last thing I'd ever want to do is encourage our audience to violence. But at the same time, if you're walking down the street and you see Gonzo,
He's a Muppet, John.
I don't know, there's a clown called Gonzo. And you know what?
Fuck all that.
Muppet as well, because that's the escalation of this.
No.
First clowns, then Muppets.
But Muppets are cool, John.
Muppets
John, you
are
love
pure.
Muppets.
I don't know,
Yeah.
Brian, do you want our kids to be safe on the street?
I think if you're going to
Muppets, they don't
deal
have
with the
legs.
clown problem, you need novelty-sized props and not real violence.
You need like a little backpack, and then you pull out like a tiger, and you're just like, fucking get him.
I think you need anti-clown death squads patrolling the streets, is what I think.
Yeah, the Suicide Squad.
What are clowns scared of? What could we dress as? Cats.
No.
Just like cats walking around with like baseball bats and like guns.
Do you know what clowns are scared of? When you don't stop laughing. Just fucking laugh at them. Like, just keep laughing. And they can't tell the next joke because you're screaming laughs at their face. They'll just cease to exist.
Is that not their desire though? Is that not what they want?
No, they actually go mad.
Yeah. But like, you know how it's like a really, really fat man will eat like all the food, but at one point he's gonna burst. Like,
So you're laughing and he's just like, oh, the joke's over, I told it. Like, you can stop. Next one.
You've trapped them in their perfect
Yeah.
prison. Yeah. I read a thing before how people thought that this was like a marketing ploy because the new It film is coming out.
Yeah.
oh yeah.
I really hope that that's how it started and there's some like executive in Los Angeles being like,
Oh shit.
oh no.
I read a really, really cool thing the other day. The guy who directed that horror movie We Like Clown, he's like one of those indie up and coming directors that now has been given responsibility to a superhero movie. You know,
Which one's he directing?
Spider-Man Homecoming?
Is that the sequel to Silent Hill Homecoming?
No.
Okay.
It's the
Could you
prequel.
double check that after
It's the
podcast?
prequel, John, I
Okay,
know.
yeah,
I was reading up on it. I really, really like when Hollywood does that, when they get someone who has no idea how the system works and just fucking ruin them.
Why do you like that? That's so
I don't
sad.
like that at
if
all.
you
I'm
like
being
that.
sarcastic. We've been sarcastic for the last 10 minutes, Niamh.
I know, but it's
Wait,
just
you weren't
so
sarcastic?
It's just so cruel.
Welcome to the Let's Fight a Boss cast. We are the strongest video games podcast. We are a video games podcast, despite how the last 13 or so minutes went. I am sitting here with the woman who has suffered 1,000 defeats, but 1 billion victories. It's Niamh.
Hi, everyone.
And the man who hides in all skeletons, Bryan.
I am inside your marrow.
Yeah.
Feasting upon her.
So, I got sucked down a weird YouTube hole this week, and I started watching a Yu-Gi-Oh! Unboxing channel.
Like the cards?
Yeah. I don't know how, like, I just ended up subscribed to this channel called Simply Unlucky, and it's one of those channels where I'd never click on the videos. It would just appear in my subscription week after week, and then I was like, I should unsubscribe because I never watch it. But then I always have this thing where I'm like, no, you gotta watch one video before you unsubscribe to be sure. And the way he does it is like, what's up guys, Simply Unlucky here. I'm just gonna unbox some Yu-Gi-Oh cards. And then he finds like a piece of like kind of orchestral sort of classical music that builds throughout the entire video. So he's like opening all the cards and he's like, oh, it looks like we got a Harpy Brother here, 1,800 attack, 500 defense. Mm-hmm. But it keeps building and building and building until eventually he opens the packet that has the rare card for that episode. And just as that does, the music swells and like explodes and he's like, no way, shiny, first edition Regeki, yes. And maybe it's because I used to collect Yu-Gi-Oh!
It sounds very
But
satisfying.
there's some level of just vicariously living through this guy. I think it's just kind of interesting because it's like
How long are his videos?
20 minutes.
I don't want to watch that.
I know, yeah. Like, I'll stick it on in the background while I'm doing something else. But, like, I think it's cool when you find something and you're like, I would never watch that. And then you find someone who's, like, just got it down to a fine art and they know exactly how to make you excited. I'm not saying it's not an absolute waste of time, but goddammit, life's tough sometimes.
Are
guys.
you drawing in your sketchbook or anything while this is going on?
Oh, I'm not sitting there with my arms folded, like looking at this. I'm doing other stuff.
Because I remember one time I was watching an unboxing video, but it was like 3 a.m, and I was like, I should be asleep right now. But here I am with my hands like smushed up against my face, having a great time watching this guy going through his Asian grocery haul.
Do you guys watch much unboxing stuff?
Yeah,
Really?
yeah.
Because you what's his name?
My BFF, I don't know him. It's Anthony's Customs. He's a figure reviewer, and I love his videos. Like,
How many does he post?
one a day. He's on the ball.
That's a machine.
And he reviews like Marvel Legends, SH Figure Arts, like Figma, Hot Toys. Like he does a bit of everything. And he's a good guy.
We all checked out some rather interesting documentaries.
Oh yes, we did.
So the first one, probably the biggest one, we were all like super, super excited about this. Louis Theroux has a new documentary on Scientology, and it's just called My Scientology Movie.
His Scientology documentary.
Yeah. So I guess if you haven't seen Louis Theroux, he's like this really charming British man, and like he's really tall and he's kind of really polite and quite stoic.
But he's kind of awkward and naive too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he has this way of, I think, just kind of drawing people out of themselves by kind of, like, there's one thing I always notice he does. It's like whenever there'd be like an awkward pause in an interview, they're not even really interviews because he's like hanging out with this person for the day. He'll just let it sit. Like, he'll let the pause sit. and eventually the person will kind of offer up something more. Like, it's really interesting to watch him do that.
Oh my god, when he does it, it makes me so uncomfortable because
Yep.
I know I would be the person who I would just say something because you're staring.
He's fucking baiting you
Yeah,
into it.
he really
Yep,
is. He's
totally.
good at it. But sometimes it's really barefaced. I guess when you're in the situation one-on-one, you don't see it, but when you're watching it as a viewer, you're like, oh.
If you guys were to recommend people one, like, say you've never seen Louis Theroux, what's one documentary they should check out?
I just think you should just go with America's Most Hated Family. Like
That's a really good one to
It's just a
start.
good example of one about the Westboro Baptist Church. Like,
I think
it's something everyone knows about, and he's one of the documentarians that put him on the map.
his two-parter on porn stars is really good as well.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
one was recorded, I think it's like 10 years, 7 years.
There's like a 12-year gap between
A
them.
really long gap, and like one is when like the porn industry, I think in the late 90s, was thriving, and then I think the other one is like late into the 2000s when it's on the decline, and that's a really, really fun one. What about you, Niamh?
The neo-Nazis one is always good.
Oh, that one's rough.
There's like a really tense moment where they keep asking him if he's Jewish.
Yeah,
It's like, that was a moment where I felt scared for Louis,
yeah.
which doesn't happen often.
Yeah.
I think he could nearly divide his kind of documentaries into sort of two kinds. One is the kind of like the weird weekend kind, where like he hangs out with alien abduction believers. You know, that's a really good one as
They're
well.
all based on kind of offbeat American subcultures.
Yeah. And then the other kind tends to be like more kind of like investigative journalism nearly, and I'd put the neo-Nazi one in that. Like it's not fun watching.
The neo-Nazi one's kind of in between the
Yeah.
two because then he does the ones about alcohol addiction,
They're
autism,
real hard-hitting, yeah.
like
Oh, the alcohol one is tough. Like, but he's great. You should totally check him out. But anyway, he's released his first feature film, My Scientology Movie, and I guess like it's worth mentioning, we all got our hands on this through torrents, and the reason for that is that Ireland, where we live, has anti-blasphemy laws. And you might think, wow, that's a really stupid, archaic law. No, it was implemented in 2009 because our political system is fucked.
It's mainly to do with, I'm sure everyone's seen it on the streets. There'll be a guy on a soapbox just talking about, like, just reading passages from the Bible or something.
Yep.
But you can't do the reverse of that where you're, like, slamming the Bible.
Yeah.
And so,
Which is ridiculous.
through some loophole, because Scientology, I don't think it's considered a religion in Ireland, but Scientology is a religion, I guess, I guess it didn't get distribution in Ireland because they were too scared that it might get
there's no
sued under blasphemy. Or
Yeah. I don't know if Scientology had any involvement in that, but I would imagine from the way they do things, it seems like they do like just look into every nook and cranny, and they found a technicality here and probably wrote a letter to some organization.
It's like distribution companies over here wouldn't take it up because they were afraid of the fine.
Yeah. It's a fine.
They
you
could
get.
do it, and they could probably be like, Scientology isn't a religion here, so they could probably totally be fine with doing it. But Scientology are scary because they have their own huge lawyer firm looking after their interests. So even just being sued over and over and over, and people filing lawsuits against your company is so disruptive that it's not worth it to just show a documentary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So with the film itself, I thought like the premise was really interesting because right at the gate, what Louis says is that he wants to be the first documentarian to show like a kind of more positive side of Scientology.
And try and interview Scientologists.
Yeah, and that's generally what he does. Like when he does something on a subject, even something that could potentially be seen as really negative, like even with the Phelps, the most hated family in America, I think at some point he's like, I respect their dedication to what they believe, but they're super fucked. So he does try and find positive things, and that was kind of exciting to me.
Like, it's nearly, he doesn't even go hunting for them because he's such a fly in the wall. You get to see these people who you were morally completely opposed to be real people as well.
Yeah.
So there's kind of this empathetic streak nearly running through it because they're just humans.
Yeah.
I guess. So that's, I guess, was his goal for this.
Yeah. And I think kind of it's not really any fault of Louis, but I do feel it's to the detriment of the film because of the walls that Scientology and its kind of like members throw up. You never really get that, and to me, it kind of ended up just being another Scientology documentary, and maybe a little less effective because it's less direct, like something like Going Clear, which came out a couple of years ago.
Yeah, Going Clear came out. It's done by the guy who directed Enron and The Armstrong Lie. He's a fantastic documentarian. Can't remember his name off the top of my head, but that was done through HBO.
Enron's so good.
And with Going Clear, he was interviewing loads of ex-Scientologists that all... It seems like a lot of them left in the mid-2000s.
Yeah.
So he was interviewing a few celebrities and the guy, Marty Rathbun, who was in Louis' film as well.
Yeah.
And he was also in a BBC 1 hour special a few years ago, which I thought was kind of weird because Louis was also working through the BBC. So he's done 2 different BBC documentaries. This ex-Scientologist who gets harassed continuously.
Yeah. I thought the best part of the film for me was just this really small section where Louis is in a hotel room with just with a really low ranking Scientology member, and the guy, he's like an actor and he's really not right. There's this really creepy line where he's like, sometimes people ask me, you know, do they brainwash people? And I just say, do I look brainwashed? And it's like, dude.
That guy was great.
It was really sad. He pulled out like a whole stack of Tupperware boxes filled with books, and he said he spent crazy money on it. It's such a scam to destroy people financially.
Do you remember there's an episode of Peep Show like that where I think Jez and Super Hands join a cult and they just keep having to like invest more money to go up levels in it, and they're more and more debt, but they're feeling great about it.
Do you think it drives a little on curiosity, because no one really knows what it's like in there?
Yeah,
so
it's so
part of
secretive.
you just kind of wants to be like, hey, show me, just to see, and then they just brainwash you and then you're trapped.
Yeah.
I'd say that's a part of it, you know?
Or that like you buy an expensive jacket and it's not nice, but you wear it anyway because you bought it.
Mm-hmm.
Like you have to go around wearing that.
From what I've seen, it's like, you know, the auditing they do. That's essentially giving someone therapy. Like auditing is just therapy, except you're holding 2 things. Like it's nothing more than that.
Well, it can range into a super abusive therapy because they were yelling.
Yeah,
like,
but
it is just getting you to divulge your past.
But like the low level auditing they do, that's just you going over things in your head, and going deep into your memories and figuring stuff out, and like that's gonna make someone feel good who's never experienced that kind of stuff before, because you're like, oh, I guess, you know what, I actually have been bothered by that my whole life. And so when you tie that then into this escalating thing, you want to keep feeling that good, so you're going to buy into it, especially if you're someone who's like kind of troubled already.
They kind of, looking how they went through the auditing in Louis' documentary, it's kind of like they're trying to teach a narcissism or something, where you're meant to sit there, and if you're reacting to someone insulting you, like Louis was sitting there and a girl was saying stuff to him, and he wasn't flinching at all. And then the ex-Scientologist sat down, he started yelling at him, and that's what got Louis to flinch. It's kind of like getting yourself to control that action, that flinch that you would do. And it's like letting people's criticisms of you not affect you. And then you think of people like Tom Cruise.
Well, like someone like Tom Cruise, who would have, like, you know, he was kind of a Brat Pack actor in the 80s. He's probably been detached from reality since the 80s. Like, he's not someone who can walk down to the shop and buy milk.
Yeah, they keep him there by just like feeding into his narcissism.
Yeah, because he'd be someone who has an entourage, or just like he's not connected to reality the same way we are.
And this was also the second documentary he released. When was the Savile documentary?
Monday last week.
So the 2 came out really close proximity.
That's what happens when Louis documentaries come out. It's usually like they just come out like bombs. There's like 1 or 2 of them.
Yeah.
Stephen Bomb.
Louis bombs.
And so this was a really interesting one as well, because this was on a British television presenter back in the day. I'd say a lot of our American listeners never would have heard of this guy.
Yeah.
But he was Jimmy Savile, and I think his biggest show was a show called Jim Will Fix It.
Yeah,
Jim Will Fix It, and he was on Top of the Pops.
Yeah, he also had Top of the Pops. So I guess the American equivalent would be someone like Mr. Rogers meets a very old version of Carson Daly hosting.
Or even like Ryan Seacrest or something like that.
Yeah, like just someone who's hosting a music show but has a kind of like a crazy cool older
Yeah.
man, but or like Bill Cosby, you know, like really, you know, like Cosby Show Bill Cosby.
Yeah. And one of the really strange parts about this guy is like he is connected, like in such a strange way to what seems like so many government officials and the royal family. Like there's a bunch of pictures of him just hanging out with, you know, the Queen and the Prince and all this kind of stuff.
But he used to be a DJ for BBC Radio, and his whole thing was that if your hospital needed a new roof, you could ring him, and the next day loads of checks would arrive for your hospital.
Yeah. And he was beloved, absolutely beloved. And Louis actually did a documentary about him.
It's part of his Weird Weekends in 2001, I think.
Yeah,
and I think
15
it's one of
years
his
ago.
best episodes. It's really strange, and like you always get the feeling that there's something a little strange with Jimmy Savile. Like there's something not right there. And he died, I think, in 2011. And not long after he did, all these like abuse cases started coming out of like all these kind of kids he'd abused and stuff, and like it was really bad.
It turns out he was like pretty prolific. Like they estimate about 300 victims.
Mostly women, I guess.
It was children, it was child sexual abuse, it was women.
Yeah. Like young women, females, pretty much.
Yeah.
And this documentary was, I guess it was kind of about Louis trying to make sense, because Louis actually became friends with this guy. Like they became personal friends. Like they weren't hanging out every day, but it seemed the kind of thing where they'd see each other once or twice a year.
Especially if they're both in the BBC.
He called it like an unlikely friendship.
Yeah, and it totally was. But it was really interesting because Louis, it was much more personal documentary for Louis. Like I think you could tell, especially in the last interview with that woman, that he was really upset. It's heavy stuff.
Yeah.
Like I'd totally encourage people to check out both those Savile documentaries. And if you don't know anything about Scientology, like if you haven't seen the other stuff on them, the My Scientology movie is pretty good as well. Like it's well done.
It's a very, very good like entry level for sure.
Yeah.
I liked seeing the 3D Scientology graphics kind of floating around. You
they
don't
were
get
great.
to see them in such high quality.
No,
so that was pretty good.
they were a pleasure.
I love seeing their shows. It just looks like a weird UN thing, but it's just so decadent.
Brian, tell us about The Nice Guys.
Yeah, The Nice Guys. John, this is a movie I think you should watch. You're either gonna fucking despise this film or think it was pretty decent. It's written and directed by Shane Black.
I don't know if those odds even out for me.
This is no like it's an original film from Hollywood. You don't get that very often.
Okay.
It's written and directed by Shane Black, who did Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, and he would have written like the first two Lethal Weapon movies. He directed he wrote Last Action Hero.
I love Last Action
He wrote Long Kiss Goodnight, which is like my favorite Gina Davis movie. Like that's a really, really good film. All his movies are set at Christmas for some reason. Like that's his thing.
It's the party season.
Yeah. He also did Iron Man 3.
Is that set at
Fucking
Christmas?
hate that movie.
That's Shane Black, and it's super Shane Black because it's like, but like the way he works is that he does neo-noir with lots of black comedy and a lot of fast-paced dialogue, which I guess you'd refer to as quipping.
Avengers quipping.
Yeah. This guy, like him, and I guess the guy who made West Wing, Aaron Sorkin, like they'd be like originals of just like one-liner quips.
Watching The West Wing turn into fucking Avengers dialogue in the last 2 seasons is tragic.
I think you should watch a Newsroom. Newsroom is even worse.
I think I want to watch Newsroom just because I think that's going to be such a perfect like.
The Newsroom is like that multiplied by Coldplay. It's so bad.
Oh Jesus Christ!
It's fucked.
But anyway,
I really, really like The Nice Guys. I thought it was a good film, but I'm always in the minority about the good films of the year. It seems.
Is it a comedy?
Yeah, it's really funny.
what's it about?
It's a noir film set in 1970s LA, and it stars Ryan Gosling and Russell Crowe, and one's a private investigator and the other is an enforcer that you pay to access muscles to be like, stay away from my daughter or stay away from that girl.
Okay, that sounds pretty alright.
Yeah, once you said he was in it.
Yeah, like Ryan Gosling's amazing in it. He's so funny in it. And Russell Crowe plays a straight guy, but he has like a few, just like he's kind of just there are a few moments where he just nails it.
Yeah.
I like that he isn't playing himself. Like he's so serious. It's nice to get a non-serious version.
Yeah, I'll have a clip of the movie in the descriptions. It's just a 30-second clip. If you guys just want to watch that link, and if you think it's funny, just maybe watch the rest of the film. But it's a good film. I think everyone should check it out. Even you, John.
Even me?
Yeah, even the Quipster himself. The Quipster, yeah?
Yeah, that's good.
That's not...
So you can find John online at the Quipster.
Niamh, tell us about A Girl on the Train.
It is the most movie that exists.
Emily
That's a sentence.
It's literally a 5 out of 10 in every respect. It's so, like, I wasn't bored throughout it. I wasn't excited. I don't think it turned on any feelings other than I'm physically watching this happen and I'm not totally bored.
Is the film like Gone Girl or something?
No, it's nothing.
I really love the name of the film because it's like, oh shit, guys, we're really running out of things to make movies about.
Is the film based on a book?
Yeah, okay.
Of course it is.
That's such a book name.
Yeah.
Paula
What a
Hawkins'
page turn.
debut novel, and all you hear about it is like it's
Paula
the book that rocked the world.
I've
It's such a
never heard of
boring
it.
story. It's so like, okay, Emily Blunt is in it and she's amazing.
Yeah, I love her.
I like her.
Justin Theroux.
Pass that blunt. Justin.
Yeah,
Our boy.
Louis' cousin, Justin
Lisa
Theroux.
Kudrow.
Phoebe.
Like, it has all the makings of
Smelly
something.
Cat. Remember Smelly Cat?
Yep.
Have you seen the South Park episodes with the member berries yet?
No.
Okay, never mind. Watch the new season of South Park.
I
good?
have,
Yeah, it's
yeah, I've heard it's really good.
This movie is like, it's just bland. Like, they don't get. It's a non-mystery thriller. It's not interesting at all.
I feel like that's like the ultimate like damnation by faint praise. Like, I'm more likely to watch The Newsroom than I am to watch this thing.
Because you know one of them's going to make you angry.
Yeah, you're gonna feel something.
Like, I know I'm going to watch The Newsroom and I'm going to go, oh, you know? Like, I'm going to feel.
You will.
It's directed by Tate Taylor, and he hasn't done anything to note. And the directing is so just like one note. It's just really bland. He doesn't do anything special. There's no nice shot composition. Like, there's literally a train by the coast, and it looks crap. Like,
Is the movie shot like handheld style?
no, it's just normal. It's like TV, just bad.
Does the movie have like a grey colour palette?
Not really.
I bet
it
it
doesn't stick to anything. It's just a normal. It's just it exists.
I like
in
to imagine
space.
like the director was like, no, like a normal shot. Jeez.
And
The
like,
costuming is just normal. They're just dressed like normal people. Like,
No, nothing weird. Just shoot it. Just put a jacket on her.
just a jacket and a scarf. God.
does
just
the
a
whole
person.
film take place on the train?
No, the woman is Emily Blunt is commuting, and she's looking at the train, and she sees two houses, and one house is her old house where she used to live with her ex-husband, but they broke up, and the other house is this future she imagines. So she's seeing this girl who's having an amazing relationship with this man, and she's on the balcony smoking after they had amazing sex, and she's kind of, that could have been my life.
Man, amazing sex.
Or could, that's like a thriller.
Yeah.
That's all that
Whoa.
happens in it. That and murder. And that's just basically it. It kind of, it's uncovering, then a murder happens, and did she see something? Can she remember? Who knows? Was it the obvious answer? Probably.
Gonna have to see the film to find the thrilling conclusion.
I'm looking forward to torrenting this.
Yeah.
That's the difference between me and you, Brian. Like, you'll go after this film. Like, you will want to see it.
I watch 400 films a year.
Yeah.
There's 365 days in the year. I watch 400 films a year. I counted it.
I think I watch maybe like 50, and I'd say a good quarter of them are ones you recommend to me, Brian.
Yeah.
And you're so hit and miss when you recommend me something.
It's
Like,
I watch way too many films.
like when Brian recommends me something, it's either like one of my favorite films of the year or something I fucking despise.
I really like The Proposal. Sandra Bullock is hilarious in it.
So it's a new season of anime, and most of the big releases have kind of been out long enough that I've watched pretty much all of them. There's nothing really grabbing me this season so far. It's a lot of stuff that I'm kind of like, maybe I'll like this. Like, say, Yuri on Ice. Yuri on Ice is a beautiful anime about beautiful boys who might end up kissing, but it's really well done.
It's about ice skating.
Yeah, and like I don't just mean like it looks well. It does look very well, but like just even like the acting on like the kids is really well done. All the staging is really well done. Like the animation's beautiful. It looks good. I haven't really watched a lot of anime like this, so I'm missing like the credentials to know if this is going to be a really solid series or not. People certainly seem excited about it. But did you watch much of it, Niamh?
I watched a few things, and I watched that, a bit of it, I didn't watch it all. And I love how it looks.
Yeah.
I'm not really into sport anime either, but...
I think that this is like the loosest definition of a sport anime.
It looks like a feature, like, it's really beautiful looking.
Yeah, you said that to me before I watched it, and I 100% agree.
I watched All Out, that's the rugby one.
Yeah.
I thought that sucked.
I thought that was like totally fine. Like, I really, because I remember you said to me it was awful, and like I could see being, yeah, it's not great, but I feel like it's not awful.
When me and Rebecca were watching it, we're like, either John will love or hate this.
It's fine.
The little angry guy, do you like him?
Not really, no.
Really?
No.
I thought like maybe you'd identify with his spirit of wanting to just fight.
It to me was like a pretty competent go of like a shonen style sports anime. And I think that's one thing I was really surprised about. I really, from like all the kind of promotional material and like especially the figures, those sexy figures, it's like I really thought this was going to be a sports anime aimed at girls. Or like the girls market.
I wanted it to be what those sexy figures were.
Yeah.
I was really disappointed. And take a screen cap of the blonde character in this, and no one face model will look the same.
His face model was all over the place.
There's so many inconsistencies.
Yeah, it was and like that kind of stuff doesn't bother me too much, but if it is going to bother you, you cannot watch this show.
It drove me nuts. I was like, what? Because you're trying to imagine what this character looks like, and it was like, he looks different in every shot.
I guess like another thing, like the show has like a very distinct look, and I could see people really not liking it. From me, I've read about 800 chapters of Grappler Baki, and so this show is like a pretty version of, like, Bryan, you've seen the drawings in Grappler Baki.
Yeah, they look like penis heads.
Yeah, they're now like I'll defend the author of Grappler Baki. I think he's unbelievably talented. I just think he chooses to draw things grotesquely.
Yeah, he does.
But this show is like a pretty version of that. I don't have that much to say about it other than that. I thought it was like, I'll watch episode 2, you know?
I went to a rugby secondary school, and I learned a lot about like the spirit of rugby. And the whole idea about rugby is that it is for boys of all shapes and sizes to play, because you get like your average body type and they're an all-rounder, but you still need like tanks
and that's
for defense,
that's
and
one thing.
you need little guys for tackling.
And that's one thing I really liked about the show. I felt like the diversity in like the boys' designs. There was all like, there's the captain of the team, and he's just like a big fat guy. Like, he looks strong, but he's like a big fat guy.
Big barrel.
Then there's a guy who's like, his influence is Yujiro Hanma from Grappler Baki, Baki's dad. He looks like Baki's dad with just like little white bits in his hair.
Oh god, I hate that design so much. It's
the
like
hair is really gross.
It's just, you know how like if you watch a basketball anime, you're gonna get a bunch of tall dudes.
Yeah.
And that's fine, but you know.
But like they even say that in the episode. I think that's where the heart of the show is, like, anyone gets to be a star in rugby. Once
It's
you're touching
true.
The ball.
Yeah, and I thought that was kind of nice. Like,
Yeah.
I liked that.
It's what I like about rugby.
Yeah.
Like in soccer, they all look the same.
Now, I think traditionally with anime, it's like, you know, first episode, all the budget goes there. Second episode, huge drop off. I don't think the show looks terrible. It cannot afford a drop off, like,
No.
at all. So, I mean, we'll see. Bryan, you checked out one, Occultic 9, which
is done by A1 Studios, who've done Fairy Tail, Ireland's favourite anime. They fucking love it.
Yeah.
Also, apparently Fairy Tail anime ended a few months ago.
Oh, wow, I didn't hear about that.
Yeah, that's why that anime group on Facebook are very upset at the moment.
Sometimes I think of how much Fairy Tail I've actually watched and I want to cry.
They also did the Phoenix Wright anime, which was dog shit.
Oh god, I got like 3 minutes into that and I was like, nope.
Occultic 9, I'm gonna watch one anime this season, and it's gonna be Occultic 9 because I thought the backgrounds looked great.
The backgrounds look great, but like
the comping looked amazing.
Fucking unreal comping. Me and Bryan have both spent considerable amount of our career as like animation compositors, and so we appreciate some nice compositing.
Yeah, very, very good post-production values.
Yep.
It seems like it's like Bacano or Durara,
Yeah, I totally got that vibe.
where
from
they
it.
introduce 10 different characters who all overlap each other, and you're not going to know who everyone is until like episode 8, and you're used to the designs and each subplot. But it seems to be about a bunch of people who are interested or involved with ghost conspiracies, ghost hunting, and are ghosts real, that whole idea.
Yeah.
And there's a murder mystery.
Yeah. And like it had a nice vibe to it. I found it kind of relaxing.
Yeah.
Like kind of chilled, but like a little edgy as well.
Yeah. And 90% of the character designs are fantastic.
Oh man, 90% of those characters.
The studio also did all the Persona animes.
That makes sense.
Yeah, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And they did the Fire Emblem Fates animation.
Oh really?
Yeah.
That's nice.
Yeah, like, so this is definitely done by the A-team, and for the most part, there are some slick designs in this show.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say anything more. The other 10%, you will know what I'm talking about when you see it.
It will smack you right in the face, and you'll be like, "What is that design doing in this show?"
Yeah. Let's just see how we get on. I still have a very, very strict rule about 3 episodes, but I really, really want to watch all of this, because I'd like to watch one anime thing a year.
Well, like, like I'm gonna the best thing I can say about any anime when I watch the first episode is like I'm gonna watch the second. You know,
Yeah.
Like even Mob Psycho, like that was definitely my favorite anime last season, and I really loved the first episode, and then I really fell off it for a little while. Like I wasn't really into the middle arc, but then when it kind of starts building, and then like the last episode of Mob Psycho is the best episode by far. Like it's amazing. So I think it's something I struggle with a lot. Like when do you drop an anime? But 3 episode test is usually reliable enough.
Yeah.
And the only other thing, I've watched pretty much everything. Drifters was one that a lot of people were really hyped about. And what it's about is like these like war characters, like these characters from famous war like Nobunaga and stuff like this, all being brought to this fantasy land to fight each other. I didn't know that was a story going in. I thought it was just a samurai anime, but no, he's gonna throw down with like Joan of Arc and shit.
Is Genghis Khan in it?
I would nearly I don't think he, like, I haven't seen that he is.
Maybe it'll be like, oh shit,
I
Genghis Khan's here.
nearly guarantee he's in it. It's a real similar concept to the Fate Zero series.
Yeah, which has the daughter of King Arthur.
Yeah.
And that.
No, that's King Arthur.
Oh,
The history books lied. King Arthur was actually a cute girl.
Saber?
Yep.
Yeah, Saber.
Oh, okay.
My 16-year-old brother tried to explain Fate's Day to me like a month ago, and nope.
Really?
It makes less sense than Kingdom Hearts.
It's a weird series. It's like, it looks really pretty, but it's also really dry. But anyway, sorry, Drifters. And that's it. Trailers look good. Show kind of looks like shit.
John's favorite anime of the year.
Sure.
8 Johns out of a possible 7.
8 Johns out of a possible 7. Why should you watch Coming Soon? And then I checked out one more, and we'll get on to games soon, but Working, which is like... Working. And all it is...
You're selling me.
It's a cool English word.
It's like a VR game that Niamh would make. It's just about a bunch of people working in a cafe.
God damn it.
But I'm always trying to find, like, I'm trying to go outside of my comfort zone with anime more lately, because so much of what I watch is like boys punching each other slowly.
Shonen battle bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like, you know, that's my favorite genre, but I'm not going to argue with that description.
Maybe you should watch Slice of Life with Moe Girls.
I try, but I get so fucking mad.
Maybe you should watch something about 6 brothers.
No. No.
You can have your favorite brother and your least favorite brother.
That show, Bryan is referring to Osumatsu-san. That show is...
Oh yeah, Osumatsu. I was talking about a different brother show.
God, Bryan, I hate you. Osumatsu-san's totally fine and totally competent, just not for me at all. And this show, Working, is like... It's about this little cafe, but I guess what I liked about it is it's like the main character comes into it and everyone doesn't trip over their dick trying to impress the main character. He's like walking into a pre-established ecosystem, and all the relationships are kind of going on, and it's like there's a sense that, and that's kind of what I like about like small businesses. You know, when you walk into a shop and sometimes you get an indication. You remember that printer that we go to?
Yes.
And when I was there first, I was like, yeah, I'm pretty sure that guy there is having an affair with that girl. And you were like, really? And then we looked over, and if by fucking magic, his hand just like trails along her back.
Not only that, but the girl beside them rolled her eyes as if to be like, fucking stop, you guys.
Oh, and so I like stuff like that. I like miniature human ecosystems. And I've only watched the first episode of this, but like it looks nice, and I totally got that. And there were some, and like the characters, it introduces like 7 characters at once. They're all employees of this cafe, and like they were all distinct, and they all had like their kind of clear little gimmicks, but they were all kind of fun. And so I'm gonna try watching more, because I really do want to watch more Slice stuff.
Let me recommend to you a new anime this season, Hibike Euphonium Season 2.
I've really, really been meaning to watch that, because I
It's
like...
good stuff. It's maybe it's a little bit of a Yuri anime.
I like
It's
me some
to-
Yuri.
It's a total
I
Yuri
like a little bit
anime.
of
But
Yuri.
they play brass band items.
I watched like an episode or
band
two of
rules.
that for the Phantom World video I did, and I was like, man, I wish I was just doing a video on this.
Season 1 has that annoying thing where that season 1 have an anime. It's how I feel about Free, where everyone's at odds with each other and they need to get over their bullshit so we can get into the more interesting stuff.
Yeah,
So
guys, we gotta go fight Cell.
I love season 2 already, because these characters, I'm really starting to like them a lot. It's really good.
We're going to move into our strategy talk. Niamh, tell us about Deus Ex DLC.
I'm gonna break this into 2 parts: pros and cons.
Okay.
Okay, first the pros. That is a good story. That is some really good polished DLC. It really characterized Jensen really like heavily. He has a sense of humor. There seems to be better voice acting in it. Pritchard from the first game, Human Revolution, comes back and kind of gives you a mission, and they have a really good chemistry. They're kind of like Jensen, whatever. They have a good chemistry together, and it's just a really fun story. You get a new bank for you to break into.
What's like the premise behind this DLC?
Is it post-game DLC or is
See,
it side
this
story?
leads into the cons. So this is hard to talk about the pros actually without the cons. The con is you don't access this from the main game. You go into an option and it's called Jensen's Stories, and you're given this little map to go around, and it just does not connect. You're given a dump of praxis kits to rebuild your Jensen. So you're not playing with your in-game character or anything.
Really? Man,
Yeah.
that seems to go so against what Deus Ex is.
Yeah, so it's
Yeah.
like you get this blank slate and they're like, okay, here's 15 praxis kits which you used to buy, and then you're trying to remember
That's
what
lazy.
did I buy, and I went in, kind of recreated the character, but then the difficulty of the DLC is kind of hamstrung by that too, because they're like, oh, what are they going to spec as? So it's really easy. Like it's easy from like if I want to go shooting, like easy from that aspect. It's easy from a stealth aspect. It's easy from a non-lethal aspect, because they're like, they don't know how you're going to spec, and it's not balanced for you to spec any real way. So it was mostly going through it for the story, and the good gameplay was hampered by how small this map was now. Like there's an apartment building in it that they used for 2 locations, the top and the bottom of it. Like it makes it feel very small very quickly.
Well, how long is it?
It's a good length. I've been I'm not finished it yet, and I've been playing it for like 2.5 hours, I'd say.
Yeah.
Like the bank is fun, but it's as much as you get out of it. You're given a giant bank to break into, so you can either go to your objective or you can go into every room.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. So it's disconnection from the main game makes it really disappointing. But as a story and a piece of add-on content, it's really great.
Yeah.
It's good stuff.
So I've been playing River City Tokyo Rumble, which is a 3DS game, and
Based on a NES series.
yeah, and this game kind of approaches a question that I'm always curious about. You have these old scrolling beat 'em ups, and I've talked about this kind of stuff before, like Streets of Rage and Final Fight. You're a tough guy walking down an alley, beating up a bunch of idiots, and then fighting a boss. And my uncle used to fix arcade machines, and I started off games playing these kind of games. Like I have a lot of fondness for this genre, but as time went on and as arcades became less popular, these games they don't really work outside an arcade setting, because most of them are like an hour and a half long, maybe at the most, and there's
most of the time spent is because they're hard.
Yeah, and like you get the odd exception, like Turtles in Time for the Super Nintendo is that right up there at Streets of Rage 2. Like they're both amazing games, but they still suffer from like they take 2 hours to beat if you know what you're doing. And I'm always kind of keen to find a game that's going to recontextualize this genre. Like a certain amount of it's like character action, like Bayonetta, Devil May Cry has done it to a certain degree, but it's still not really the same vibe. And so I downloaded this game kind of seeing if this could do it. And their answer to it is like it's now an open world. Like the scrolling beat 'em up is an open world, and they've also added a bunch of like leveling up system and upgrades, and I'm still a little on the fence about it. There's some really like questionable game design decisions, like your attack button and your block button is the same. So if you walk up to a guy and you start punching him, he might punch you back. But because you're already pressing, it's contextual. So because you're already pressing block, you'll block his punch and then just keep punching him. And so there's no real...
That just sounds like you're auto-comboing offense and defense.
Yeah, a little bit. And then the other side of that is then you get boss characters who can pretty much do that to you. And so
that doesn't sound like fun.
Your only real option then is like to kind of keep jump kicking them or kind of find a special move. I really want to like the game because it's got a cool look. Like it has the original 2D sprites against this really basic but nice 3D background.
Yeah, it's got like a Paper Mario 2.5D feel to it.
Yeah, totally. And they're doing what they can to kind of like there's cutscenes in it, but it's like you make allies along the way, but like there's all these what I feel like are missed opportunities to really flesh out the characters, because even though the game's meant to be kind of stupid, they're trying to infuse it with some humor. And so far, like all the humor I've seen is like every day you start off in class and you always like leave class before it starts and your teacher's like, no, don't go, and you're like, don't worry about it, babe. And like it's meant to be tongue-in-cheek, but the cleverness isn't there to really pay it off, so it just comes across as kind of tired. And I am totally open to being won over by the game, but right now it's 30 quid and it's not a 30 quid game, like not even close.
The original designs and the artwork, they're kind of like Yu Yu Hakusho delinquents, where they're just kind of guys in white uniforms with like small pompadours.
Yeah.
Like they're like shark fin pompadours, aren't they?
Yeah. There's guys in this with Kuwabara's exact color palette.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like it has that kind of retro look.
Yeah, totally. I'll update at some point, but for now, like if you're tempted by this game, even if you're super into scrolling beat 'em ups, like maybe a tenner, but I couldn't advise it at 30. Like not at all.
I think the original River City Ransom games, because I was looking at gameplay of them like the other week. I think they're from like the late 80s.
Yeah.
Because the game I played was a NES game as well called Little Samson.
Why don't you tell us about Little Samson, Bryan?
Alright, this is a late era NES game. So this is when the SNES was out, but the NES was still releasing titles. So this is after Super Mario World, which I guess like still holds up as a platformer. Like it has sharp game design.
Totally.
Because I never owned a NES because I was too young for one, I guess. Like the first home console I owned was a SNES, but I owned a late entry SNES. But this is one of the like later games on the NES, and it's a Taito. It's made by Taito, and it's a platformer called Little Samson, which sounds like it's like a Bible adventure for some reason. But you just play as like a little green boy who can transform into a dragon, a stone golem, and a mouse, and it's really, really charming.
Yeah.
It's like it's Samson of myth, you know, with cut his hair. That's Samson.
Yeah. It's got a very, very different name in Japanese.
Really?
Oh.
Yeah. But yeah, in the West it's called Little Samson, and I'm just playing it on my Game Boy, just using an emulator. And it's super charming. I really, really like it. Most NES games I don't like. Like, I find that Mega Man games kind of hard to play because the hit collision is kind of fucked on them. Because they're old games and the programming isn't very good.
I don't know, I think Mega Man 1 certainly was like that. I thought Mega Man 2 onwards were pretty sharp.
They're good, are they?
Oh, they're fantastic. They're still like Mega Man 2 to me is as good as Super Mario Land.
Okay. Because like this game is super tight. And like even his jump animation, he does a twirl when he jumps. It's not just they're moving the sprite up and down. Like it's got full animation. I love late era games because of that.
That's what I was just about to say. I always think like if you want to see what like a console can do, you have to go to late generation because the jump in between the two. Like there's a bunch of late generation NES games that you would nearly mistake for SNES games.
Yeah, because the Kirby game for the NES came out after Super Mario World as well. Because like Super Mario World came out in like 1992, and it was a launch title for the SNES. Like that's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
And then like 4 years later, Mario 64 came out. Like there's such a fucking jump.
That's crazy, Jesus.
But yeah, like even Conker's Bad Fur Day for the N64 is a late era 3D platformer, but that one has like full voice acting and the hands aren't bricks, they're individual fingers that animated, and that wasn't like a thing until like the following era or the following generation. And like even something I guess like GTA 3 compared to San Andreas, I guess there's a huge gap.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm playing it. It's a pretty.
Do you know
game.
if it's available on Wii or anything like that?
Might be.
I can't remember.
Like all the kind of like retro game YouTube channels, they'll always have a little Samson video.
Yeah, I think Stop Skeletons from Fighting's talked about it before.
Yeah, he has it. The two guys, GameSack, always talk about it. And the Video Game Historian has a little Samson sprite in the background of all his videos. Like he just has one of those like like a large sprite thing on his wall. Yeah, like I really really like Taito. I think they made Bubble Bobble as well. Like they're real good at cute sprite designs.
Yeah, those are such good games.
And I don't think they exist anymore.
So I dropped Doom.
Oh really?
Yeah. And
Too spooky for you?
Yeah, it's a really really well made game. Like it's so good. It's just not doing it for me.
Like shooter guy.
I think this is like if I found like a really technically perfect fighting game and put it in front of someone who is real casual about fighting games, this would be their reaction. Like it's the kind of thing where like it's so well designed that it feels fantastic when I'm playing it. It feels really good. And then like, I play it for an hour, I turn it off and I don't think about it again.
It's going to be Giant Bomb's Game of the Year.
It is going to be Giant Bomb's Game of the Year. Guaranteed.
Yeah. Because it ticks all the boxes.
Yeah, it does. But it's so their kind of game,
Yeah.
But I think you should check it out, Niamh. Like I think you'd appreciate how movement works in that game.
I've been waiting for it to go down in price, so
you can borrow mine if you want.
Nice. Okay.
But and it is cool, and like there is interesting stuff going on, but I just feel like I keep traveling to a different location, hitting like activating the like waves of enemies, killing those enemies, moving on, and there's just nothing in there keeping me invested.
Oh my god, that's like Halo. That's everything. That's Destiny, but forever in a loop.
Yeah. And like even I think if the personality of it was different, it might appeal to me more. But I don't think it lacks personality. I think it has a lot of personality. Like it's really clever in what it does. I think there's just all these like nods and winks that are just kind of lost on me. So like this is totally not a recommendation not to play Doom. Like I think most people will like it, but I just kind of had to come to the point where I was like, I don't really give a shit about this game. It's a really good game that will absolutely not be in my top 10 this year.
Not even your top 10?
Oh, no way.
Serious?
There's going to be games worse than this in my top 10 that I like better.
Okay, I'm going to play Doom because someone needs to bat for Doom.
Well, like, it's the kind of thing where, we do an end of year podcast. We do, like, Game of the Year podcast at the end of the year, and we knock off each game one by one. There is no way in hell I am going to use up any of my, like...
You're not fighting for this
I'm not fighting for Doom. Like, it deserves to be high, but I'm not going to fight for it.
It deserves someone to fight for it, so I'll do it. Because I know you guys will put some garbage weirdo thing in there above Doom.
I'm sure whatever this year's Undertale is
why don't you just fucking say it, Niamh? Sonic Dream Collection.
Yeah.
That is going to be a mark on our...
Well, it's a good game.
Integrity forever.
It's in the Let's Fight a Boss work.
It's better than the last 3 Sonic games.
Yeah.
It's a good game.
And Niamh, like, the only way for it to get into the Let's Fight a Boss Hall of Hard Work and Success is that we've all played it and we all approve of it. So how'd it get in there?
Yeah, Niamh. You really like that game, don't you?
Yeah. then the only other thing I played was the Resident Evil remake is free on PSN this
PS
month.
Plus, yeah.
PS Plus, yeah. And was such a weird experience booting that up, because to me Resident Evil has become like a parody of itself. Like, you know, Resident Evil 6 had the kind of like the reception it had, and Capcom have been so weird with like the marketing behind Resident Evil 7. They've said how they want to focus it on like a younger, fashion-orientated generation, all this kind of stuff.
Here's your crazy Cabin Hicks fashion.
Yeah, I know.
Fashion.
But that's what they said. They wanted to appeal to young, fashionable teens with Resident Evil. And like, so there's been so much, like, that series has been on the decline for so long.
And the movies.
Oh, God.
The movies are genius.
They're their own thing.
There's like 7 of them now.
I don't think
I see them in the cinema every time they come out.
I don't think you can like judge those two things, like, even more so than usual. The films are their own weird
I think
films
Mila
are more Resident Evil than Resident Evil is anymore.
Mila, who plays Alice in it, I think she's like executive producer in all of them now.
Yeah,
and I think she's married to the director. Like, they're her films.
They're her
She did
children.
the costume design on 3 and it was amazing. Yeah, she loves it. It's her franchise.
I really need to watch the Resident Evil CGI movies. I bet there's some
They're
gold
really
in
good.
there.
The Leon one with Claire Redfield. They get trapped in a hole. It's good stuff.
Is there any CGI ones with Jill?
I'm sure she shows up. Yeah.
Hey guys, I'm here to bust you out of this hole.
But anyway, all that aside, I was playing the Resident Evil remake, and like the thing that really struck me is like that is such a fucking amazingly designed game. I was playing like the first sequence with Jill, you know, where you go around the corner and the zombie turns his head, and the way they do it is so clever, because like the zombie starts coming at you, but they shoot it from this camera angle. It's all like, you know, fixed perspective camera angles that you and him can't be in the same shot without him being close enough to attack you. So you have to run back into the previous screen. That doesn't work either. You can't see him because the camera's pointing like away from him. So you have to run further away again. And it creates this like real, oh shit, like what am I doing? Like, and it makes the first enemy of the game really like scary and threatening.
It's genius because it's making a limitation of the backgrounds into part of the gameplay to keep, like, it's like Silent Hill in the fog. Mm-hmm. Like, it just works. It makes it, they work.
Yeah, it doesn't overcome its limitation. It like uses it. Mm-hmm. And every zombie placement for the first like 4 or 5 zombies are all like so well thought out and so like there's
game design philosophy 101.
Exactly. It's like there's one bit where like, you know, there's a zombie corpse and you haven't killed it, but next to it is like 2 healing plants, and at this point you've already fought like 2 or 3 zombies, so you'll probably need them, and so you want the healing plants, but the zombie's right there, and like it's amazing. Like it just reminded me like, wait, no, Resident Evil like used to be serious shit. Like these games used to be incredible, and that remake game still incredible, and it looks good, not like good for a game that was made 10 years ago. It looks good. Like, it looks better than what I'd consider it a better looking game than most of what I played this year.
Those fixed backgrounds really allow a game to stand the test of time.
Yeah.
Because they were just beautiful illustrations.
And that just let them dump all the polygons into the models, which hold up 100%. So if you have PSN, you should check out that game. It's awesome. And use the old controls. Don't use the new controls.
Did you play Transformers yet? I played that.
Yet, no.
It's pretty good.
I'm gonna check it out.
It's a platinum game.
Platinum.
It's got dodging, and when you dodge, it slows down time.
Yeah, Bayonetta.
Yeah. It has shooting in it as well, and that's shit.
No. Like,
there are the plane Transformers, and they just fly around, and you have to shoot them, and it sucks.
Starscream, please, Bryan.
No, they're not Starscream. They're like they're
grunts.
Has Starscream been in it yet?
Oh yeah.
What's his voice like?
It's all the original voice actors.
So it's like Megatron.
Yeah, but like that doesn't mean anything.
Megatron.
But like the Michael Bay films
I
had
found
the original
Optimus
voice
Prime.
Like it's all the same voice actors, but they've been voicing like that's not new.
I'm gonna write a Starscream fan fiction and then do an audio CD for it.
Good. Maybe you should just do that voice for the rest of the podcast.
Maybe I will. Oh, okay. And with that, we are going to move into our quick time events. So, the immortal ones, kings of the games industry, paragons of virtue, digital homicide, have dropped their lawsuit against the Steam users, claiming that it has destroyed the companies. I have never ever been happy about like the development studio, anything bad happening to them, anything all like. But these guys are such useless assholes, and they keep screwing up. And now they're like, well, that ruined the company, and it's like, no, you ruined your company.
They're just people who are just so defensive, and like if they had admitted to themselves that maybe they should stop, this could have stopped way sooner. But they just kept going. It's like
A bunch of stubborn fools.
yes,
They could have
mules.
they
Yeah.
could have kept releasing like their games, and they could have kept riding off the publicity that Jimquisition has brought them, you know. But they're the ones who like choose to like sue this. And, oh man, I'm glad it's over. Like they were silly people.
What a pack of wallies.
What
It
a
was
pack
like
of-
watching a Keenan and Kel episode where everything just keeps getting worse.
It's escalating into...
And they're
Oh
doing
my
it to
god,
themselves.
it really is, isn't it?
But could they not be like Tommy Wiseau from The Room and just like embrace the shitness and like we're the development studio to make the shitty games. Come laugh at our games. Like get PewDiePie to play our shitty game.
I mean,
and boost the sales on the shitty game.
If they stopped acid flipping, they could probably that would have been a direction they could gone. But now they're
It works for bad movies all the time.
yeah.
Like
There's totally a market for that in games.
yeah, but I guess they thought they were making art.
Yep,
Stolen art.
I guess so. I don't think they stole any art. I think they just bought like a Unity package.
And just walk that fine line.
Yeah, yeah. So not stealing, but not creating. Did you guys see the Beyond Good and Evil 2 teaser imagery?
Yeah, I was reading about that. That's Michel Ancel, who's the creator of Rayman as well. He doesn't actually work full-time at Ubisoft anymore. He left and formed his own studio.
I think his relationship with Ubisoft is a little complicated as
Yeah.
well. It's not smooth sailing between those two.
They're not gonna fully support Beyond Good and Evil game because Ubisoft are like they'll only bet on winners, and that's a beloved title. And
Like they have their UbiArt stuff, but
yeah, but
Yeah.
like it's not gonna be Grow Home or that one with the little red yarn guy,
Yarny.
Yarny.
I was really disappointed that wasn't meant to play great.
Yeah, a lot of those platformers suck.
Yeah.
All anyone wanted from Yarny was a figure of Yarny.
I think there's one out now.
I'd buy that.
The little guy.
But you have to buy the game as well.
Yeah, so Michel Ancel on his Instagram, he's posting concept art of Beyond Good and Evil 2 character designs. And I guess it's one of those games where every few years they're like, is it still in development? It's kind of like...
It's been in pre-production for 8 years.
Yeah, it's like Last Guardian.
Yeah.
It's one of those games. And he says it is in pre-production. It's in very early pre-production still.
What would that game even be now? Like, I played the remaster of Beyond Good and Evil, and like
Yeah, because it's a
it
PS2
is.
game.
Yeah, it's of the time. It's like a platformer. It's like a Spyro, but with a camera. So what does this version? What does Beyond Good and Evil 2 look like?
I'd say if you asked him,
Open world with
he
towers.
couldn't tell you.
It'd be open world with towers.
Do you think?
Yeah, it's
I
a
mean,
Ubisoft
I think
game.
Ubi are trying, like, because they've been doing that for years. I think they're trying to move away from that now. I believe it was blimps in one of the recent Far Cries.
Do you think there's towers in Watch Dogs too?
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, definitely. How else do you unlock a map, Brian?
There's towers in Breath of the Wild as well. It's bleeding over.
Is that definite? Then that's really sad.
They showed it in the it's towers. It's how you unlock portions of the map with more objectives to do. It's what that is, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Gameplay.
God damn it.
Games suck now. That's why we talked about anime for 45 minutes. We don't want to talk about the elephant in the room, but it's not good.
Brian, I'll have you know that games are great. Hello Games being investigated for fraud. Oh man, actually, you know what? Let's hold off on that for a little bit.
Yeah. That's
The Overwatch Halloween skins.
Yeah, it drops tonight.
even on PS4.
Yeah, Halloween event starts tonight, runs until November 1st. Halloween loot boxes in the shape of a jack-o'-lantern, and you can get 12 new skins and 100 unique items.
12 new skins?
Yeah, there's 12 characters get a new skin, so it leaves the other 10 out in the cold, I guess.
No Halloween skin for Bastion.
Does he get one? I don't think so.
Let me see. Let me try and figure out who can get one. Tracer, definitely.
No.
What?
I know the big fat Mad Max guy gets one.
Yeah, Roadhog gets one. He's Frankenstein's monster.
Sure.
Junkrat is Frankenstein.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's cool.
Dr. Junkenstein. Farah gets some kind of glowy armor. Hanzo is grey skinned, kind of undead. Mercy gets her cute witch outfit that she had in that artwork.
I think Mercy's like the best design in that game.
Yeah, she is. Everyone loves Mercy. She's good.
Yeah.
Who else? I can't think.
Is Widowmaker getting it?
I don't think she gets one.
What the fuck? He just put a witch hat on her.
But she's already spooky enough, isn't she?
Reaper gets
fucking
head.
Reaper gets... Yeah, okay.
I really wish Reaper was like he just got a proper Grim Reaper costume.
Yeah.
With a side.
That'd be amazing. Oh my god, that'd be great.
Yeah.
But it's part of the canon now that Reaper's character, Gabriel Reyes, made all the costumes for...
Hey, yeah, I saw that on Tumblr.
Overwatch
How'd that
character.
become a thing?
It's in the comic. There's a comic released
And that's
to
canon.
coincide with that. Yeah.
Overwatch.
McCree's a werewolf hunter kind of guy.
You see, people
Well,
talk
Van
a lot of
Helsing.
shit about the lore in Overwatch, but it's really good.
And the most interesting part of this is there's a new game mode, which is a horde mode. Which
What
is
are the enemies?
We fight pumpkins.
Junkenstein has made scrap robots that are your enemies that come in waves.
I'll play the
and-
shit out of that.
Yeah, I know. It's limited to a few characters, like I think it's mostly offense ones. Minus Farah. So it's not the full roster, but there seems to be kind of a narrative going through it a little bit.
I'm gonna boot up
Yeah.
Overwatch. Fair play, Blizzard.
It's cool that they tried something completely new.
Yeah.
So that's a fun event starting now. Goodbye.
Overwatch continues to be an interesting thing.
That'll work with that community for sure.
Yeah.
Did you see the Sombra design leak? Question mark?
I actually saw the design leak.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's a.
So, first of all, do you guys think it's legit?
I'm going to say no. I don't think it is.
She's a Mexican assassin. Is that what she is?
She's
She's connected with Reaper.
So there's nothing.
Spanish hacker.
There's
She's a hacker. Yeah.
There's
yeah.
nothing really like solid out about her.
Well, she's a hacker. That means she's going to be tricky. To
People
play
think
against.
she's a hacker because of all the hacking shit in the terrible AORG game.
Oh yeah.
That's kind of it. I am totally on the fence. I don't know if it's legit or not. Apparently, there's a bunch of people saying that this is from Blizzard, but that still doesn't mean it's legit. If it is legit, I kind of feel like we haven't seen the full character. We've kind of only seen sort of
Bust
kind of
up
bust,
thing,
yeah. But it's a perfectly functional, kind of boring design.
A lot of people say she looks like a Battleborn character.
She 100%. She has the Battleborn haircut.
Yeah, she really
You know what I
does.
mean?
So she has half her head shaved, with an asymmetrical, her hair flipped over.
Yeah. Cool. A girl game character in the 2010s.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Does she have a purple streak in her hair?
She has
She
two purple
literally
lines
has.
on the shaved part of her head. Yeah.
Nice.
I think like her character design doesn't seem in any way iconic like the other ones. But if it was the final one, I wouldn't be opposed to it. I feel like I saw some really good fan art of her already, and I was
It's
just like,
not
okay.
offensively
Yeah.
bad. It's just I feel like every other design in Overwatch is such a home run.
Yeah.
And put it this way, this is the last Overwatch character I'd want as a figure.
So you have to figure out her personality before I make that decision.
But just
Through
on
those snippets of
just on
dialogue.
an aesthetic level.
Yeah, I know, I get you completely. Yeah, it doesn't do much for me either. I like to think that this is an intentional Blizzard leak and this is Sombra leaking Sombra. Because...
Same thing happened with the spy in Team Fortress.
Oh, really?
The spy was leaked in the exact same way.
So, I think it could be something like that. Because it's a photo of a desktop screen. It's a few pieces removed from something.
Yeah. That's how things get leaked.
Yeah, but hope it's good. Tekken 7 adds Miguel.
I'm shocked that was kind of like, I kind of assumed.
Just assumed he was
Yeah.
in it.
Who's Miguel?
So Miguel is this like giant. Is he Spanish?
I think he's Spanish.
That
Yeah.
sounds like a Spanish name.
And I like the idea behind his character. He's meant to be a big, just tough fucking guy, and he doesn't know martial arts. He's just strong. He just learned to fight from beating people up in bars.
Luke Cage.
I
Kinda,
think
yeah.
his story is him on his friend's wedding day, and the church gets bombed.
I think it might have been his wedding day. Yeah.
Aye.
What I kind of never liked about Miguel is he sort of suffers from a kind of problem with Tekken where everyone's fighting style kind of blends. And so he does have like some kind of... He has all these moves where he's like pushing you about and throwing you all over the place and they look awesome. But then he has like some kind of spin kick moves as well. And it's like, oh, that's not how he should fight.
You
He
should fight
plays
simple.
like a speedy Murdoch
Yeah.
King kind of character.
Yeah, he's like...
No grapples, really. Well, he has a bit of grapple in him.
A little bit of grapples, yeah. He's more just like... He's speedier than this like slow hitters, but he's still a lot slower than the combo guys. Like his combos will be like 4 or 5 big hits and not like a bunch of little ones. I think he's a fine character.
I like him. I like how he seems very intimidating in your face when you play as him.
And his redesign looked great. Like pretty much every redesign in Tekken 7, unless you want to get specific about Horong and his eye patch.
Oh.
I don't know. I kind of love it.
They put everything in the kitchen sink on him, though.
I know. And
He has
looks,
tribal tattoos and print on his clothes.
He looks like a PlayStation 2 come to life.
Special edition.
Yeah.
Man.
Still cannot wait. I saw like a bunch of clips from Heihachi, and Heihachi has like some fucking cool moves this time around. Mafia 3 didn't send out review copies. I didn't hear about this.
That's pretty much the story, but I thought it was interesting because this has been happening a lot where games that are reviewing quite well aren't sending out review copies anymore. So most places, like Polygon put up an article that's like, where's our Mafia 3 review? And they weren't offered any...
I haven't seen one from
copies.
Eurogamer either.
Yeah.
Are the reviews out at all for it?
I saw Giant Bomb play it today and they said it's super fucking glitchy.
They said
Oh.
that they would give them codes on the day to access it, and they were like, that's... Polygon at least were like, that's not really any use to us, so they bought their own retail copies for the reviews.
Yeah, well, I see this as kind of like,
Yeah, just
as
play them
streamers become more prominent, that's where people are looking. But I still see it as pretty shitty too.
Yeah, completely, because it's like, it does give the streamer kind of... It gives real games journalists who might give you an unfair review less of a chance to inform the consumers, and then people who will hype things out of day one purchase, like energy, all the ability to hype.
And like, I think it's hard to trust a lot of the younger guys on YouTube. You know what I mean? Like,
because their moods will swing in a week.
But like, you're like, and like, I don't even blame them, because like, you're 20 years old, you're a 20-year-old like girly guy, and a fucking like Ubisoft gets in contact with you. Like, well, I know Ubisoft don't make this game, but you know, a big game publisher gets in contact with you and is like, hey, would you like a free game? Your mind to be blown.
Yeah.
And even if you try and give it an impartial review from that point onward, you can't.
Yeah.
Like, it's impossible.
And you're streaming it out in day one, and you're just playing it, and I think the kind of most you want to like a game is when you first put it in, because you want to justify your purchase.
Oh, I nearly like every game. I play it first, and then it's like the days that follow that I start going,
So they're not giving reviewers a chance to digest the game and kind of mull it over or write anything really in depth.
Yeah. The last big time this happened with Doom, which was the opposite, because everyone went insane for that game.
Yeah, it turns out that game's amazing.
Yeah.
It was like, and that's what all the reviews were about.
Yeah, like that got consistently glowing reviews everywhere.
Because usually if a game is like guaranteed win, they'll send out the review codes 2 weeks in advance and then have like the 2 weeks of hype as the release date hits.
Yeah.
Otherwise you get things like Watch Dogs where they delay the game because of GTA 5, and then they don't release any review copies until the launch, and then streamers rip into it.
Or there was a really bad one with Assassin's Creed, not Liberty, the one before Liberty.
Syndicate?
Not Syndicate, the French one.
Oh, God. The one where it's the co-op
Unity.
one with the fork. Yeah.
Assassin's Creed
Unity, that was
Unity,
it. Yeah. And that game was rife with bugs, and that got like destroyed. it's a weird one because like if your game's good, it's going to benefit. But it's not really weird because I understand why they hold it back if it's bad. But still, like that just seems so anti-consumer as well.
Yeah, it really is.
I know Mafia 3 is one of those games where they want a lot of critical thinking about it. So maybe they want not reviews, but they want post thoughts on the game.
Austin Walker has done some really interesting writing on that game.
I'm really looking forward to play it for that reason.
Yeah, like I'd like to play it at some point. I haven't played an open world drive about game in a while, sandbox, because it is one of those type of games. I didn't realize it like it's like Sleeping Dogs or whatever. It's not quite GTA, but it's cool.
Yeah. So I'm going to use this opportunity to activate our final form. So, our good friends Hello Games are once again in the headlines. And I know we've talked a lot about Hello Games, but they're being investigated for fraud in the UK over the No Man's Sky controversy.
Yeah.
And I think this is a really interesting conversation topic. I can remember when I was younger, I went to see this Zach Braff movie.
Garden State.
Not Garden State. It was one he did after Garden State. Summer from the OC was in it. It was a really forgettable movie.
I don't remember this at all.
But there was a trailer for the movie, and the trailer made it seem like it was going to be like really kind of light and fun. And there's this line in it where he's like, when I was a kid, I wanted two things. I wanted to have the girl of my dreams, and for Hulk Hogan to be my bodyguard. And he was like, that's my dream. And so then I was like, okay, he made a wrestling joke. I'm going to go see this film. And then I went to see the film, and he was like, when I was a kid, I wanted one thing. And that was the girl of my dreams. And I was like, wait, no, that's a different movie. This is a different movie. You know, because that change is such a tonal shift that it was like, they fucking got me. Like, that bit was in the trailer and it's not in the movie.
Zach got you.
Zach got me. And I always think of that whenever people start getting kind of pissy about, like, a game's kind of pre-release marketing cycle promising things that it hasn't. And, like, the most extreme case of it has definitely been this No Man's Sky. I mean, people are so pissed about this. There was even a story about how the No Man's Sky Reddit thread was deleted because the moderators wanted just to cleanse it and just get everyone out and start fresh. That's how toxic their community is.
Yeah, the UK have much stronger consumer protection advertising laws, where things have to be specifically told. Like, you know how, like, I guess in America, the most specific ads you get are the medical ads about drugs. But then other ads, they're very, very vague about what sort of lifestyle they're selling.
Yeah.
But I know there's just a higher standard that they have to follow. And Hello Games is a UK-based company, so it makes sense for this to be happening on their own kind of turf.
Yeah. Do you guys think this is fraud?
Yeah, straight up.
I think so, yeah.
I think you can definitely say the gaming community, like, people did freak out and did expect a lot more from it, but they did lie. They really did advertise a totally different game. Like, that's fraud. That's it.
There should have been a lot of clarity about what type of game it was.
People I see, like, compare it to Watch Dogs, and the hype about that and then the reality of that. But where, like, I think that's completely different is, like, Watch Dogs, they didn't say anything. Like, they screwed people over as well. Like, they showed really fancy ass trailers that totally painted a different feel to the game, but they didn't promise something and then not have that feature there. There was no missing features. Yeah, but it did kind of.
They showed the hacking and the shooting all in the original trailer.
It just wasn't as cool as it and like interesting as it was in the trailer, but it was there. Like with Hello Games, they just outright promised. Like he's mentioned multiplayer constantly.
Speaking of Watch Dogs, like we all know the BBC show Watchdog, and like that's like there's just such a strong kind of like citizen authority about protecting consumer rights.
Yeah.
That there's even like that there is a TV show that investigates and like rips into, like, let's say some pub has a sign up that says that they serve a certain type of beer with a certain alcohol, and they'll actually go in and measure the alcohol volume and like find out that they're lying, and then they get fined, and people get like a satisfaction from watching this show. Like the British love doing this. It's part of their culture, and
Irish.
And Irish people for sure. Like even thinking about this, you get that. Yeah, fuck them. So like for Hello Games, like what the fuck were they thinking?
Yeah.
So I think like there's two very distinct kind of sections what Hello Games did. The first off is the trailer downgrades. So remember the initial like trailers they release. I don't think there's anything necessarily wrong with that. Like I have an old N64 magazine in my parents' house, and I have like there's a preview article on Ocarina of Time. Every screenshot from that article does not show up in the game. Link has a different design. It's like an environment that isn't in Ocarina. It's a completely different game. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that, because famously, like Nintendo back in the day used to make a game and then make it again, because I think that's a really amazing way to make a game. I don't think it's like financially viable now, but I think like, games production cycles are long and complicated, and things that seem really easy to do at first, they go out of it. Now even then, I think that Hello Games were playing on the extreme end of that spectrum. Like I think they had no restraint when making their original concept thing, like even less than Ubisoft or something. But then you get into like the immediate pre-release marketing coming up to the game, and you have what's his name, the dude that everyone, Peter Molyneux Jr.
Yeah,
Sean Murray.
Sean Murray, that's the dude.
Is it Sean Murray or Murphy?
Murray.
Yeah.
He did lie.
Yeah.
Like, and I don't think he took into account how, well, obviously he didn't, but yeah, I kind of agree with you. I think he did kind of consciously mislead people, and it's going to be interesting to see if this changes how games are marketed. I also think like if you bought No Man's Sky day one release and you didn't wait for any reviews and you didn't think of any of that stuff, like there is a certain amount of onus on you there, because like people will take advantage of that. And I do think like you can wait a day, you can see what, but then like on the other side of that, a lot of people liked that game when it first came out.
Yeah.
But it would have been a fine, serviceable game if you just like bought it as the game it was. It was the fact that you buy a game expecting a certain feature and that feature was missing or not there at all, but you were told that was there. It's like buying a coffee maker that says it does cold drinks and it only does hot. You're like, I guess it's still a coffee maker, but I bought it for that direct purpose.
Yeah.
It's like they left out features.
The thing that might protect them is that none of this is on the back of the box. It was in like preview journalism on the game, but when the game actually came out,
it was on trailers on TV.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's gonna fuck them.
Yeah, it wasn't just like online media, because they could probably argue with that, but once they start putting it on broadcasting,
I know false advertising on television is like a big cornerstone, and that like if you're caught false advertising on TV, that's 100% evidence against you.
Any game footage you see on like being broadcast underneath, it's just like not in-game footage rendered in engine. They have to put that there if it goes on TV.
Yeah.
So they're saying stuff like that. They're showing footage that wasn't in the game.
Yeah. Like, I mean, Dark Souls 2 actually had a lot of this as well. There was a lot like...
oh yeah, the original lighting in that game is amazing.
Yeah, and completely unsustainable on Xbox 360 and PS3. But even then, I feel like with that, they're pushing sliders up and down.
Yeah, graphics are a totally different thing. Like, you guys as compers, if I was to give you a video and say, put this out here... Like with the Hello Game stuff, there was a comparison, and it was a lot of extra glows and particles thrown in for the first few trailers.
And like you add that stuff in comp because it's so difficult to generate that stuff, like from 3D assets. But it looks like there was a lot of that happening. So yeah, I don't know, like, it's kind of sad, you know, because like one of the exciting things about Hello Games was like they were this breakout indie studio. Like they were the first indie studio to go from like indie to AAA, pretty much. But it's been such a disaster.
I think it's a good cautionary tale for people to hire a marketing team, or, you know, or like get a professional to do that shit.
Yeah. But
be careful what you say.
Yeah.
like I kind of
the internet remembers.
I hope this is kind of the end of this stuff. Like I hope whatever happens to Hello Games happens to them now. I think they haven't managed it well, but I also like the whole thing's been so. It's been such a debacle.
He hasn't said anything. Do you think he should make a statement?
I think he should have made a statement a long time ago.
Same here.
Like, no matter what statement it was, he should have said something. But people are speculating now that these legal charges are why he can't say anything. Which would make sense.
Yeah, because that would be admitting to it, nearly.
Yep. Yeah. And with that, we are going to move into our loot drop.
This is the part of the show where we hang up our weapons and enjoy something, and we're going to share it with you.
Yep, the listener.
The listener, our friend that we have simulated a friendship with.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
Niamh, tell us about Mystery Show.
So Mystery Show is a podcast where our hero, Starly, solves a mystery. Whether it's about a missing belt buckle and who the original owner was, or why was Brittany holding a certain book.
So it's like, they can't be mysteries that you can find out about on the internet. So I think the first episode is like, 10 years ago, a person rented a videotape in a video store, and she got in a chat with the person running the video store. They asked her to sign up for like their membership and everything. Then she went back the next day and the video store was gone. Just no trace.
So she sends Starly out, and Starly uncovers the mystery.
And it's all these weird little mysteries. It's like next to like freaking Giant Bomb. It's probably my favorite podcast.
It's really good. It wasn't renewed for a second season.
By Gimlet Media.
Yeah.
Which is really...
It's crazy.
Yeah.
She is like such a star in her own right. Like, I
Yeah.
don't think anyone else could do it. She's just such an easy way with people.
So personable.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's this one episode that's actually the Brittany episode where she's calling up a guy on a ticket hotline, and she gets into this big conversation with the ticket guy about like his life.
Aww.
And it's really sweet and sad, and it's great.
She's a really endearing conversation with like an old cowboy chef, and then a really great one with like Jake Gyllenhaal. She can like talk to anyone.
Yeah, there's an episode about how tall is Jake Gyllenhaal.
Oh yeah, because his height is reported as 2 different heights.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. You get the answer if you listen.
Yeah.
I do want to know how, if I have to stand on my tippy toes or not to kiss
Oh,
Jake.
you
I love Jake.
Me too. He's
Jake,
such a great
Ryan
guy.
Gosling. God, I'd love to be in that sandwich. What, John?
Nothing. It's fine.
Does it make you uncomfortable?
No, it doesn't make. It's just I don't need to know that intimate.
Did you hear about the John's?
No.
They're in the sandwich.
Yeah.
I'm sketching the sandwich. Where are you in the room?
I'm the meat in the bun.
Dead. I hope I'm dead.
Why are you dead?
So I'm sketching John's dead body in front of the sandwich.
Yeah, just a human sandwich with a corpse in the middle.
I hope I edit this episode so I can edit this fucking nightmare out.
Why would you want to edit? It's 2016,
Anyway,
John.
I'll
A
link-
man could be in a sandwich with 2 other men.
Look, I'm not. No, I'm not getting.
I'll link the Brittany episode.
It's a good episode. It's a great podcast.
I'm just baiting John into something he's not. Don't worry, everyone. We're all cool here. We're all hip.
Yeah. No narcs.
Yeah, we get it.
So, have you guys heard of the FIFA game series?
Yeah, the football one. No, it's the football one. You know,
Is it about football? Because
FIFA.
they might have gone a new direction with FIFA 17 because it looks like the most erotic boy love game released this year.
That is soccer. That's why it's the beautiful game.
Oh.
So in FIFA 17, there's new like touch tech, and it's like, you know, like you're meant to run by someone, and like, you know, both your bodies are meant to kind of like move in a realistic way.
Assassin's
Oh, like brush off each other. Yeah.
And this has caused some of the greatest glitches of our time. Like, this one, like, there's a bunch of things where, like, you know, a guy will, like, run past another guy, but he accidentally clips and, like, his arms end up around him, but the first guy is still running and the second guy is just getting dragged along. And there's all these amazing sequences of, like, two footballers, like, they start ragdolling, but they're ragdolling into each other, so it looks like they're kind of like making out on the ground, but then they come out of it and they go back into their celebration animation, so it looks
They
like
just snap right back into it.
so it looks like that they both like start just making out on the ground and then get up and both start cheering.
How realistic are the models?
Pretty realistic.
Good.
There's a great one where like one guy's face gets stuck in another guy's ass, and then like that happens during like a goal celebration, so finally his face gets dislodged and he starts just cheering.
Yay!
I'm gonna leave I wish someone would do a compilation of all just the like boy love glitches, because they're incredible, but the best I could find was like a glitch compilation with some like, oh, he should have saved that goal thrown in. So I don't really care about that, but I'm gonna loot drop that anyway.
I'm gonna recommend Now You See It on YouTube. I'm a big fan of movies, as you already know. This guy is kind of like Every Frame of Painting. He's one of those film analysis channels, but he's worth a subscribe to. He did a really, really good one the other day on shape theory in films, about circles, squares, and triangles, and designing a character or composing a shot in relation to those shapes. How to make a shot look happy and friendly, how to make a shot look sinister and evil, or how to make a shot look balanced. I really, really recommend checking out this channel to both of you guys as well.
Yeah, sounds great.
But
You're not hungry for a sandwich?
God damn it.
The fans love this.
Kill me. And with that, you can email us at askletsfightaboss@gmail.com. What's that, Bryan?
Ask Let's Fight a Boss at Gmail.
Why do you find it so hard? Why?
Because I'm in an age where it auto-completes the email. I don't even know my own mobile number.
So if you have any recommendations, theories, or even life advice questions, you can email us at askletsfightaboss@gmail.com.
That's askletsfightaboss@gmail.com.
Niamh can do it.
That's because Niamh's good.
I'm a good girl.
She's very good. I'm very bad. American listeners, I'm going to be in New York maybe in November, so if you want to go to Times Square, I'll be there. We can have a fight. Just saying. So send an email. We can come up with something, okay?
If you want to fight Bryan, New York, he'll give you the time and the place, and just have it out.
Yeah.
Guys, thank you so much for joining us today. We're going to be back in 2 weeks with our All Hallows Eve special.
The Samhain edition.